Jihadis attack buildings and train stations and buses and concerts and parades and marathons and nightclubs and churches and synagogues and even mosques dedicated to the wrong sect of Islam. And after every attack, there's a brief bit of shock from people around the world. Oh my goodness, how could that man or those three men kill so many people with no identifiable motive whatsoever while screaming Allahu Akbar? Typically, the jihadis are killed during the attacks or shortly thereafter, and the world breathes a collective sigh of relief. Wow, as tragic as that attack was, at least it's over, and the jihadis are gone. Since there's such a tiny minority of extremists, they must all be gone by now. Then, several years later, usually pretty quietly, the accomplices go to trial. That's when anyone who's actually paying attention realizes, wait a minute, you mean the terrorist who died had 10 or 20 people from his community helping him? You mean that when this guy decided to slaughter a bunch of people and he went to his aunts and uncles and cousins and told them what he was planning, they didn't tell him to stop? They didn't turn him in? They helped him? The BBC reports. A Paris court has found 14 people guilty of involvement in a series of deadly militant Islamist attacks. The January 2015 attacks on Charlie Hebdo magazine, a policewoman, and a Jewish supermarket left 17 people dead. 11 defendants appeared in court for the verdict on Wednesday, and 3 were tried in absentia. One of those not in court was Hayat Boumediene, the fugitive partner of Emedi Coulibaly, who was killed in the attack on the supermarket. Here's Hayat Boumediene, France's most wanted woman. Here she is, with a crossbow. If you see her somewhere, be careful. She could put your eye out with that thing. Boumediene, who fled to Syria a week before the attacks, was found guilty of financing terrorism and belonging to a criminal terrorist network. She was handed a 30-year jail sentence. The main defendant in court, Ali Reza Palat, was found guilty of complicity in terrorist crime and also given a 30-year jail term. I wish the BBC would state the sentence more accurately. Palat was sentenced to 30 years of prison dawa. All 14 accomplices were found guilty on various charges ranging from belonging to a criminal network to direct complicity in the January 2015 attacks. Terrorism charges were dropped for 6 of the 11 defendants in court who were found guilty of lesser crimes. The 3 men who carried out the January 7th through 9th, 2015 attacks were killed, and the accomplices, who first went on trial in early September, were accused of obtaining weapons or providing logistical support. They all denied the charges. The trial, which was delayed repeatedly due to the COVID-19 pandemic, came during a period when France once again faced a series of militant Islamist attacks and renewed debate over cartoons depicting the Prophet Muhammad. As always, special thanks to the BBC for reminding us that Muhammad was a true prophet. Well, after the most recent terrorist attacks over cartoons, rest assured that there can't possibly be any jihadis left who want to kill you over cartoons. It was only a tiny minority of extremists to begin with, and so many of them have already been killed, there just can't be any more. It's a good thing, too, because if these attacks had had something to do with the religion of the jihadis, then we'd have to deal with these attacks over and over and over again. What a nightmare that would have been.